Hi, my name is Dr. Timothy L. Henry. I'm a doctor of dental surgery and an award-winning lecturer here at the University of Texas at Arlington. The third thing that McKibben points out has to do with accruing wealth, accruing material possessions, and that they have discovered, and I'm talking science here too, they've discovered that the more we accumulate, the less satisfied we tend to be. Perhaps the more things we have, the less things we have to keep from realizing what's really important. And what is really important, as far as an ethical perspective is concerned, is, well, we can start with the golden rule. That's a good place to start. Whatsoever you wish for yourself, you should wish for others. Concerning the golden rule, in the Sand County Almanac, written by Aldo Leopold, who basically is the father of environmentalism, he says that a thing that is sustained and a thing that is beautiful, basically in nature, is a good thing. And anything that opposes that is the contrary. Of course, his emphasis inspired others, like Rachel Carson, when she saw the damage that DDT was doing to our nature. A lot of people are under the impression that the environmental movement basically is just screaming about global warming, and that's anything but the truth. Global warming is just one aspect. We, of course, do spew a lot of carbon into our atmosphere, and it's causing a problem because it is a greenhouse gas. And there are a lot of other greenhouse gases that are being released into the environment that's complicating the problem. Methane, for instance, which is some 30 times more powerful a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. But there are a lot of other things that we're putting in our environment that are causing damage to the biota and the flora. Just think of all of the heavy metals, lead, and mercury, and even arsenic, cadmium. All of those things are causing impacts upon species, and they're damaging other species as well as ourselves. And one thing we need to look at is that even though the first world countries tend to be the biggest culprit in putting things out that cause damage to our environment, we have China and other overpopulated countries like India that are just on the threshold of becoming modern industrial countries, which will produce incredible amounts of byproduct of hydrocarbon utilization if we don't do something about it. Well, what can we do about it? One thing we can do about it is look at alternative energies. We can do this. Think of the United States and the other challenges that we've had. The Great Depression, a world war where we were fighting on two fronts. We put a man on the moon. We can do anything if we put our mind to it. But if we tend to continue to be dependent upon hydrocarbon fuels, limited resources, that cause more problems in the long run, then we're looking at a major crisis in our world, a major ecological and, of course, eventually human crisis, because things like this can lead and will lead to war. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you don't think this was a rant. What I am trying to say is that these aren't just my opinions. Also, the opinions of the OneBook of Bill McKibben are dependent upon scientific evidence. And of course, scientific evidence, as I've mentioned before, has to do with open inquiry to evidence, no matter where that evidence takes us. Now, I've had people say, well, how do you know what is real and what isn't real, what is truth and what isn't truth? Now, I'm not going to get into a philosophical argument on phenomenology, but I do want to say that facts are like bricks. And facts and bricks in themselves may not tend to be that important looking. But you can take a bunch of bricks and make a very nice house out of it, or even a castle, or a cathedral. And that doesn't mean you can't change. That doesn't mean that those bricks, that facts can't change. Of course, the more we learn, the more we tend to grow in knowing what those facts are. And so, if you happen to build a castle and you want to you realize that the castle doesn't have a room in the castle that you need, you can knock out that wall and with more bricks build another room. So in conclusion, I want to emphasize that, again, these concepts are based on science. They're not just based upon emotive opinion. Thank you for listening.